Hey peeps, it's Julian here from Tutoring, and as always, it's such a pleasure to join you. Today we'll be doing an IEB Maths Paper 2 Matric level. It's a supplementary exam taken from March 2019. It's your usual Maths Paper 2, 3 hours long, 150 marks. There are 12 questions, and yeah, we'll start off here with question number 1. So this question gives us a diagram of triangle ABC, and question A asks us to write down the value of K. So we can see here that this vertice C gives us K, which is your Y value, and because they've told us that line AC is parallel to the x-axis, we know that the Y value of A and the Y value of C are equal. We can see there that the Y value of A is 1, so therefore K equals 1. So that's an easy 1 mark to start us off with. Then we've got question B asking us to calculate the length of AB. So to get this length of AB, which is this line over here, we need to use the distance formula. So distance of AB, and this is straight off your formula sheet, will equal the square root of the change in x, which is x2 minus x1 squared, plus y2 minus y1 squared. Cool, so we can substitute that straight in from the two values, so from B and from point A. So the x2 would be 5 from that B coordinate, minus x1, which would be 2 squared, and then we plus, again, your y2 will be 5 from B, minus y1, which is 1 squared. And we stick this straight into our calculator, and we get that the length AB equals 5. It's worth 2 marks. Moving on. Question C asks us to find the equation of the line that goes through midpoint AC and point B. So to start off, from our formula sheet, we know that the midpoint is x1 plus x2 over 2, and the y portion of it is y1 plus y2 over 2. So substituting in values, we'll use the two values of A and C, which is over here and over here. So substituting in for x1, we know it's 2, and x2 will be 9 over 2, and the y1 value is 1, and y2 will also be 1 because we calculated in the previous question, which is value of K. So now we know that midpoint, and we shouldn't really need a calculator for this one, is 11 over 2, and 1 plus 1 is 2, over 2 is 1. Cool, so now we're going to use this point to calculate our gradient, because we know that equation of a line is y equals mx plus c. So we know that m, which is our gradient, is the change in y, minus the change in y, minus or all over the change in x. Again, straight from your formula sheet. So if we substitute in for y2, which is going to be, we are now using this point for B, and we're using the midpoint that we just found out over here. So y2 will be 5, and y1 will be from our midpoint over here, which will be 1, all over, again, 5 minus, and that's going to be 5.5 there. So put that in your calculator, and you get that your gradient is minus 8. Cool, so that's your gradient. So again, we've solved for m, so we can rewrite this as y equals minus 8x plus c. And to solve for c, we can simply sub in a value. Let's just first get c in terms of by itself. So c is that side. If we move the minus 8, so it'll be y stays positive, and the minus 8 becomes a plus because we're moving it to the other side, C. And we can sub in this point B to solve for C. So we know that C equals 5 plus 8 times 5. So remember, these two 5 values come from this point B. So again, put down your calculator and we get that C equals 45. So then we can rewrite that the equation needs to be y minus 8x, or y equals minus 8x plus 45. And that will give you 4 marks. Okay, so moving on, we've got question D, which is asking us to determine the size of angle CAB, which is this angle over here. So again, from our formula sheet, we know that the gradient also equals the tan of an angle. And we know that the gradient also equals the change in y over the change in x. So yet again, we can just substitute into this formula. So that's x2. So we know that if we're using this line here, so basically AB again, we know that the y-coordinate is 5 from B minus 2 from A, and your x2 will be also 5 minus now 1, which should equal, we've got 3 over 4. So therefore we can rewrite this as tan of CAB equals 3 over 4, and putting this into your calculator, remember substituting 3 over 4 for this angle A, we come out with the answer of 53.13 degrees. That's what I get. So there, that's for 3 marks. Then in E, they're asking us to now determine the area of ABC. And again, this is where picking which formula to use comes in handy. So we know that we now have this angle A, which is over here. And we have the lengths of A and B relatively. So this would be length A, and this would be length B, if this is angle C. And when referring to our area formula, which is that the area of triangle ABC, that looks like a D, ABC equals half of A times B times the sine of angle C. So again, now to get this length of B, you can clearly see that on the x-axis it's at the x value of 2, and C is at an x value of 9. So we know that B, so just as a side calculation, B would equal the difference between 9 and 2, which we know is 7. And this length A here, we've already calculated because it equals AB, and we know from the previous question, I think it was question B, we calculated that AB equaled 5. So now we have everything we need to substitute into this formula over here. So it's not very neat, but basically we'll now know that area of ABC should equal a half times, substituting in 5, times 7 times the sine of 53.13, which we calculated in D. Put that all in your calculator and I get that it equals 14, and we don't have measurement units, so we'll just call it units squared, because remember, area is a square. So the answer is 14 units square. Okay, and those are worth 3 marks each. Question F. write down the equation of a circle that has a center of point B, which is over here, and a radius of 5. So from the formula sheet, we know that the equation of a circle around a point is x minus the point A squared plus y minus point B squared equals your radius squared. So they've given us that r equals 5 in the question, and we know that point A would be your x coordinate of B, and point B would be the y coordinates of point B. So it's just a simple substitution where it's x minus 5 squared plus y minus 5 squared, and we know that 5 squared, which equals 25. Cool, so that's for 1 mark. And then our final question for question 1 is G, and it asks us, would the circle go through point A, and explain your answer? And the answer is, of course, yes. And why might this be? So it's told us in the question that the radius is 5. So that means that if we have the center at point B, we're going to have a radius which comes out to be at least 5, well, it's going to be 5 units. And we know that line AB equals 5. Remember, we calculated that in a previous question. So we know that this line will actually hit exactly on point A. So the answer is yes, and your answer can be, or your explanation will be, as we know that AB is 5, so which is the same length as radius. And that would be a suitable explanation for your extra mark, which will give us 2 marks. So correct and correct, which will give us a grand total of 16 marks for the question. Hope you would all get 16 out of 16, and that wraps question number 1. So before I go, I'd like to send out a very special thank you to our sponsors. You guys make this video possible. You can read all about them in the description below. Please go and visit our website for more epic tutorials, and there will be a video that continues with question 2. And if you can't find the answer to your questions, remember to send us your question and we'll respond in a personalized video just for you. Until next time, stay epic.